Chosen one, listen closely. This is not coincidence. Heaven has paused everything around you to deliver this message. You have felt it lately, haven't you? That subtle stirring in your spirit. That quiet restlessness you can't explain. It's not anxiety, it's awakening. God is whispering to you that something is shifting, that something great is on the horizon. You are being positioned, realigned, and stirred because the next chapter of your destiny is being written even as you read these words. There comes a moment in every chosen one's life when the familiar starts to feel foreign. You wake up and feel different people, places, and conversations that once satisfied you suddenly feel small. You sense the ground beneath your feet moving, as if unseen hands are rearranging your path. This is not a season of confusion, it is a divine transition. The Spirit of God is stirring your inner waters, calling you deeper. Every sleepless night you've endured, every moment of silence when you wondered if heaven forgot you, none of it was wasted. You were being stretched to hold more. The discomfort you feel now is not punishment, it is preparation. God is enlarging your capacity to receive what He's about to pour out. You are not being emptied for loss, you are being emptied for filling. Chosen one. When God is about to give you something big, He first disturbs your comfort. He won't let you settle in places you've outgrown. He will make you uneasy in circles that no longer match your calling. You'll feel a gentle, divine discontent that pushes you to pray harder, dream bolder, and move differently. Heaven is not silent, it's stirring your soul because your next assignment is calling. Don't resist the unease. Don't fight the restlessness. The same wind that shakes your comfort is the wind that lifts your wings. Remember, no eagle learns to fly by staying in the nest. The shaking is the signal. When your heart feels too big for your current space, it's because God is stretching it to fit a greater destiny. You might not see it yet, but God is aligning circumstances, people, and opportunities behind the scenes. The small signs you keep noticing, the repeated numbers, the random confirmations, the sudden sense of urgency, these are heaven's way of whispering, get ready. You are being prepared to handle what you once prayed for. You have been tested in silence. You have been purified in waiting. But now, something in the spiritual realm is shifting in your favor. The same voice that called Moses from a burning bush, that awakened Samuel in the night, that spoke destiny into David while he was still tending sheep, that same voice is calling your name now. And maybe you've felt overlooked. Maybe you've said to yourself, why does it feel like nothing is happening yet? The truth is that everything is happening. You just can't see it yet. When God moves, He often hides His hand so that faith, not sight, guides your next step. You are walking into unseen glory. Listen carefully. Chosen one, before the blessing comes, the shaking must happen before the new level arrives. The old version of you must fall away. Let it. Let the old patterns, the old fears, the old relationships fade. God is making space for your upgrade. You can't carry the weight of the new with the mind of the old. Heaven is asking you to trust the process. You might not understand what's stirring inside you, but you will soon see why the Spirit disrupted your peace. It wasn't to harm you, but to align you. You are not behind, you are being accelerated. The stillness you feel right now is not emptiness, it's focus. The Spirit is tuning you to heaven's frequency so that when the door opens, you will know exactly which one to walk through. So lift your eyes. Beloved, don't let the noise of fear drown the whisper of faith. You are being positioned for something greater than you can imagine. The same God who stirred the waters before creation is stirring your heart now. You are not drifting, you are being drawn. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 6, "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled." You are hungering because you are about to be filled. You are thirsting because heaven is about to pour. Every ache in your spirit is the echo of a promise nearing fulfillment. You are on the edge of something holy. If this word speaks to your soul, don't scroll away in silence. Comment 777 as a prophetic sign that you are ready to receive what heaven is releasing. Like, share, and subscribe so this message can awaken every other chosen one still waiting in the dark. Your stirring is sacred. Your time is now. Chosen one. You have felt the separation, haven't you? That slow drifting from the people and places that once felt like home. The invitations grew fewer, the conversations shorter, and suddenly you found yourself walking alone. It wasn't rejection, it was redirection. Heaven was pulling you away from the noise so that you could hear the whisper. Isolation always comes before elevation. God removes the crowd when he is about to crown. You didn't do anything wrong. In fact, the distance is a sign that you're doing everything right. You are outgrowing what once contained you. When you carry divine purpose, not everyone can walk with you into your next chapter. Some people were only assigned to your past, not your promise. Their season has ended, and God, in his mercy, allows the separation so you won't be tied to what cannot go where he is leading you. There's a loneliness that comes before greatness, a sacred silence where heaven begins to teach you in ways the world never could. You've been trying to hold on to everyone, trying to explain what even you can barely understand, but this time, you're not supposed to be understood. You are supposed to be set apart. The quietness around you is not punishment, it is consecration. When God called Abraham, he told him to leave everything familiar, his country, his family, his father's house, and go to a land he would show him. The command came before the map. Faith meant walking without proof. The same principle is working in you. God is not giving you the full picture because he is teaching you to trust his voice more than your surroundings. Every step away from the familiar is a step toward destiny. You've noticed it, haven't you? The sudden loss of connection with people you thought would stay forever. The conversations that used to flow now fall silent. You scroll through your contacts and realize you have fewer people to call, but your spirit feels lighter. That's because heaven is decluttering your circle. The higher the calling, the smaller the company. Not everyone is meant to witness your transformation. Some were only there for your foundation. God knows that proximity influences power. He cannot let you receive the next level while surrounded by those who drain your energy or doubt your faith. The pruning hurts, but the fruit will prove it was worth it. You may weep for what's leaving, but one day you'll look back and thank God for every goodbye that preserved your growth. Chosen one. Remember this when God hides you. He is not burying you, he is planting you. Seeds disappear underground before they bloom. The darkness you feel is the soil of destiny. You are being covered, not forgotten. The roots of your purpose are stretching deeper so that the branches can rise higher. The hidden season is your protection. If he revealed you too soon, you would be exposed to storms you're not ready for. So he hides you until strength becomes second nature. In the silence, your discernment sharpens. You begin to hear what others can't. You sense the shift in people's intentions, the hidden motives behind smiles. Don't let it make you bitter. Let it make you wise. Isolation is not about loneliness. It's about learning intimacy with God. When everyone else fades, his presence becomes more vivid. You realize that his voice is enough, that his approval outweighs applause. The great ones, Moses, David, Elijah, John the Baptist, they all endured seasons of isolation before manifestation. Moses had to flee to the desert before leading Israel out of Egypt. David had to tend sheep alone before facing Goliath. Elijah had to hide by the brook before calling down fire. God always separates before he sends. You, too, are in that divine pattern. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah. Chapter 33, verse 3. Call to me, and I will answer and tell you great and hidden things you do not know. That is why you've been pulled aside, so you can hear secrets only the still can hear. Heaven wants to reveal blueprints, not just blessings. You are being trained to depend on revelation, not recognition. The wisdom you gain in this quiet season will be the foundation for the platform God is building for you. So don't fight the solitude. Don't rush to fill the silence. Let the stillness shape you. You are being sculpted into someone who can carry glory without crumbling under its weight. When the time is right, God will reintroduce you, but this time you will return transformed, refined, and radiant. The isolation that once felt like exile will soon be revealed as incubation. The wilderness is never the end, it's the womb of destiny. Trust the process. Heaven is closer than it seems, and you are exactly where you need to be. Chosen one. Sometimes the next sign of God's move is not what opens, but what closes. The door that once felt certain suddenly shuts. The opportunity that seemed guaranteed fades away without warning. You stand there questioning, why would God take this from me? But you must understand, when heaven closes a door, it is never rejection, it is redirection. There are moments when God's mercy disguises itself as disappointment. You cry over what you lost, unaware that he was protecting you from what would have limited you. You prayed for open doors, but he knew that some doors led to small rooms. So he sealed them, not to hurt you, but to guide you toward a door that leads to expansion. Every no from heaven is a hidden yes to something greater. You've been trying to force things that used to work. The familiar patterns, the old relationships, the systems that once brought results, they suddenly crumble. It feels unfair. But, chosen one, this collapse is not a curse, it's a cleansing. God is removing the scaffolding that once supported you because he's teaching you to stand on faith alone. The things that no longer respond to your touch are the very things you've outgrown. Heaven never closes a door without preparing a new one to open. But the transition in between the hallway of uncertainty is where faith matures. This is where trust is forged. It's easy to praise when the doors swing wide open. But real growth happens when you still believe while everything seems locked. Faith is not proven by what you receive, it's proven by what you refuse to doubt when nothing makes sense. Think back to Joseph. He had dreams of greatness, visions of leadership and favor. Yet his life seemed to move in the opposite direction. Betrayed, sold, imprisoned, every door that opened led him further away from the throne he saw in his vision. But what Joseph didn't realize was that every closed door was quietly aligning him with divine timing. When the final door opened, it led directly to Pharaoh's palace. The same God who orchestrated his steps is doing the same for you. You might be standing now before a closed opportunity, a job that didn't work out, a friendship that dissolved, a plan that failed. But what if that door closing is heaven's way of saying, there's more? What if the delay is not denial, but direction? You are being repositioned. The disappointment is divine intervention in disguise. When God closes something, He does so with purpose. He sees what you cannot see, the motives, the traps, the distractions, what you call loss. He calls rescue. What you think is ending is actually a shift in elevation. Sometimes the closed door is the very evidence that heaven has begun to move in your favor. You are not being punished. You are being preserved. There is a difference. Some doors shut because you prayed for protection and didn't realize the answer came as an ending. That heartbreak, it was a rescue. That lost opportunity, it was a shield. God doesn't just open doors, He guards them. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 5, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. You don't have to understand it, you only have to trust. Faith is often blind because it walks by obedience, not explanation. God's ways are not random, they are refined. The delay is not denial, it's development. He's building endurance in you for the weight of the blessing that's coming. There's a strange peace that eventually comes after the door shuts. The tears dry, the confusion fades, and in that still moment, your spirit whispers, "Now I see." You realize that if those doors hadn't closed, you'd still be stuck in a chapter that wasn't written for your next season. Heaven doesn't waste heartbreak, it repurposes it. Every ending carries the seed of a new beginning. Chosen one, don't camp at a closed door. Don't replay the pain in your mind. Release it, bless it, and walk forward. The door that is meant for you will not require you to beg. It will swing open naturally when you arrive at the right time. And when you find yourself in that hallway between what ended and what's next, remember, this silence is not absence. Heaven is still speaking, just softly enough that only those who are listening can hear. Now, pause for a moment. Let this truth settle deep into your heart. You've seen doors close, but that doesn't mean you've been abandoned. It means your next chapter is under divine construction. If your spirit feels this confirmation, type, "I trust God." Just 3 words, but they're a declaration of surrender. When you write them, you're telling heaven, even when I don't see it, I still believe. You're marking your faith in the unseen. Let it be your prophetic act of alignment. Chosen one. When heaven prepares to release something monumental, the atmosphere around your life begins to shake. You may start to notice an increase in resistance, a sudden heaviness in the spirit, misunderstandings rising out of nowhere, or battles that seem completely unprovoked. This is not chaos without purpose. It is warfare with meaning. When the enemy senses that you are on the verge of breakthrough, he attacks what he fears. The intensity of your battle is not a sign that you are losing. It is confirmation that you are about to win. You might wonder why. When you finally decided to focus, distractions multiplied. Why? When you started praying with more power, storms came harder. Why? When you chose to forgive, bitterness tried to revisit your heart. These are not coincidences. They are reactions. The darkness recognizes the increase of your light. Every spiritual promotion draws attention in the unseen realm. Demons can smell destiny. They know when someone is about to walk into divine favor. But take heart. You were never meant to fight from fear. You fight from victory. Every wound, every tear, every sleepless night is a testimony being forged in fire. Heaven is watching. Angels are positioned. And though it feels like everything is shaking, what is truly happening is refinement. The enemy is pressing against you to discover what you carry, but what he will find is endurance, resilience, and unbreakable faith. Do not mistake warfare for abandonment. When Jesus was baptized and the heavens opened, the Spirit descended upon him like a dove, but immediately afterward, the same Spirit led him into the wilderness to be tested. Divine approval does not exempt you from conflict, it prepares you for conquest. You are not cursed because of the battle you are chosen for it. You've felt the tension rising lately. Small issues magnify. People misunderstand your intentions, finances, emotions, even sleep feel under attack. You try to find peace, but waves keep forming, yet look deeper. Chosen one, the enemy only roars when you approach his territory. You are nearing a spiritual threshold, and he is desperate to distract you before you cross it. Stand firm. The warfare is not against your personality, it is against your potential. Satan is not after your possessions, he is after your position in God. If he can make you doubt your identity, he can delay your destiny. That is why your thoughts have been under siege. The battlefield is your mind, but the victory is already written. You must remember who you are. You are not a victim of circumstance, you are a vessel of purpose. Every fiery trial is burning away the weakness that cannot travel with you into the next season. Every misunderstanding, every betrayal, every sleepless night is training your hands for war and your heart for wisdom. What seems like destruction is actually construction in disguise. The enemy wants you to react emotionally, to retreat, to complain, but you were never called to shrink. You were called to stand. When others give up, you endure. When fear whispers, you speak faith. The very fact that you are still standing after all you've been through is proof that grace is active in your life. You are not fighting alone. Heaven is backing you with unseen armies. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 14. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. This is your reminder. The greatest victories are often won in stillness. When you stop striving and start trusting, heaven moves. The battle belongs to God, not to your exhaustion. The enemy cannot defeat what God defends. So be still, not passive, but anchored. Let your heart remain fixed while your enemies wear themselves out. Every great warrior of faith walked through warfare before wonder. David faced Goliath before the throne. Esther faced Haman before the crown. Daniel faced the lions before promotion. You are standing in the same divine sequence. The pressure you feel now is proportional to the promise on the other side. So don't curse the conflict. Let it confirm your calling. Each struggle, each test, is sculpting a strength within you that will sustain the blessing when it arrives. You are not just fighting for survival, you are fighting for your legacy. Soon the storm will clear, and you will look back and realize that every dart thrown against you only pushed you closer to destiny. The warfare didn't break you, it built you. The pain didn't define you, it refined you. The darkness didn't destroy your light, it revealed how bright you truly are. Chosen one, lift your head. You are not losing ground, you are gaining wisdom. You are not being punished, you are being proven. And when this battle ends, you won't just walk out, you'll walk out with authority, carrying lessons, favor, and peace that cannot be taken from you. The enemy fought hard because he knew what was coming. But what he forgot is that you were born for this. Chosen one, when heaven seems silent, don't assume it has forgotten you. Sometimes God hides behind the stillness to perform his deepest work. Divine delay is never divine denial, it is divine design. Beneath what you call waiting, heaven is weaving. Threads you cannot see are being tied together with perfect precision. The silence is not proof of absence, it is proof of orchestration. There are seasons when prayer feels like shouting into a canyon. You pour your heart out, but only the echo of your own words returns. Yet even in that echo, God speaks. He hears the whisper behind every sigh, the hope behind every tear. He is not ignoring you, he is incubating what you've asked for. Like a seed buried under soil, his answer is growing in secret. Think of the butterfly before it breaks free. Inside the cocoon, it looks lifeless. No movement, no color, just stillness. But transformation is happening in the dark. If you cut it open too soon, you kill the process. Likewise, if God gave you what you asked for before you were ready, it would crush you, not crown you. The waiting is mercy disguised as time. You may be tempted to compare your journey with others. You look around and wonder, why are their doors opening while mine stay closed? But chosen one, the blueprint for your destiny is unlike any other. Others may bloom in spring, but your season might be autumn, and when you bloom, the world will feel it. You are not delayed, you are being developed. Heaven works in layers. While you are praying for the blessing, God is preparing you to sustain it. He's training your patience, deepening your faith, and enlarging your heart. Blessings require structure, and structure requires process. Don't curse the process, it's building the strength your future needs. You may feel as though you've been walking through a desert with no map. Yet, even deserts have purpose. They strip you of dependency on everything but God. They reveal who you are without applause, without comfort, without validation, and it is there, in the stillness of the wilderness, that you learn the rhythm of divine timing. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Deuteronomy, chapter 31, verse 8, "The Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged." This is your assurance. Chosen one, the silence is not abandonment, it's alignment. God has already gone before you. He's walking the path ahead, clearing obstacles you don't even know exist. The reason he hasn't spoken is because the next word he will give you is an instruction that shifts everything. Stay attentive. The next whisper will change your direction forever. You must understand that waiting is not wasted time. It's sacred time. While you wait, heaven is polishing your character, mending your spirit, and strengthening your foundation. You are not paused, you are being positioned. The seed of your purpose is taking root beneath the surface. Soon, what was hidden will burst forth with undeniable evidence of divine favor. And as you wait, do not let despair make your heart hard. Keep your gratitude alive. Keep your worship tender. Gratitude is the rain that softens the soil of waiting. Each thank you waters what you cannot yet see. Heaven responds to faith that praises before it sees results. Chosen one, if this message speaks to you, if it feels like I'm describing your heart right now, know this: you are not invisible to heaven. You are seen, you are known, and you are loved beyond measure. The delay you're living through is the final lap before manifestation. Now, I want to speak to your heart as a fellow traveler in faith. If this word has nourished your spirit, help it reach another weary soul. When you like, share, or subscribe, it's more than just a click. It's like passing a torch of light through the darkness. You become a vessel through which encouragement travels. Someone scrolling in despair might find hope through your act of sharing. And if your heart feels moved to donate, know that it's not about money, it's about ministry. It's about fueling the flow of these messages so they can continue touching lives. Every seed sown keeps the oil flowing. You are not giving to a voice. You are giving into the vineyard of souls that this message reaches. Like rivers feeding a tree, every contribution nourishes the roots of this calling so that the branches can stretch further into the world. Chosen one, keep trusting. Even when heaven is quiet, keep moving. Even when the road feels still. The same silence that makes you question your worth is the very silence God uses to sculpt your wings. The waiting will not break you, it will build you into the kind of vessel that can carry glory without leaking it. And soon, when the door finally opens, you will look back and realize that what you called delay was divine choreography. God was never late. He was just aligning everything perfectly for your arrival. Chosen one, when heaven is about to release something big into your life, it begins to echo the promise through signs and confirmations all around you. You start seeing repeated numbers, hearing familiar phrases, and encountering messages that seem to speak directly to your soul. Some call it coincidence, but you know better. The language of heaven is not spoken in mere words, but in patterns, whispers, and divine alignments. God is not only speaking through the scriptures you read, He's speaking through everything around you. The sunrise that feels different, the unexpected encouragement from a stranger, the line in a song that suddenly carries prophetic weight. These are not random. They are signals from heaven, divine fingerprints marking your path. When your spirit begins to notice these recurring signs, it's heaven's way of saying, you're getting close. Keep walking. You may have wondered, why do I keep hearing the same message everywhere I go? The same scripture shows up in different sermons. The same phrase repeats in conversations. Even social media seems to conspire to show you what you need to hear. That's not an algorithm, that's alignment. The Holy Spirit is confirming what your heart already knows. Chosen one, when God wants to assure you of your direction, He sends layers of confirmation. He'll plant a word in your spirit, then echo it through others until it becomes impossible to ignore. This is His kindness to make sure you don't mistake His silence for disapproval or His delay for denial. These divine echoes are God's way of strengthening your confidence in the unseen. You are not crazy for noticing patterns. You are not imagining things. Your sensitivity is a spiritual gift. The world calls it coincidence. The chosen call it communication. You have entered a season where the supernatural is becoming natural, where heaven and earth are drawing closer in your daily life. That's why small things feel heavy with meaning, because they are. As was spoken in the sacred texts of old, the book of Job, chapter 33, verse 14 declares, "For God speaks in one way, and in another, though no one perceives it." That verse reveals the mystery of your current season. God is speaking, just not always in the way you expect. He's using signs, timing, and divine coincidences to confirm that you are exactly where you're meant to be. You are walking under open heaven, where natural events carry supernatural messages. Maybe you've been seeing the same numbers on clocks, receipts, even dreams. Perhaps 111, 333, or 444 keeps appearing. Each number has a prophetic rhythm to it, a reminder that heaven's timing is synchronized with your steps. When this happens, don't rush to analyze. Simply acknowledge. Whisper, "I see you, Lord." That awareness keeps your spirit aligned with His presence. And yes, it can feel overwhelming at times, the constant awareness, the signs that follow you everywhere. But this is not to burden you, it's to anchor you. It's God's way of assuring you that the promise is real. He's weaving signs into your path so that even when your faith wavers, you'll remember that He has already marked the way ahead. Chosen one, you are walking through a field of divine breadcrumbs leading you to your blessing. Every confirmation is a reminder that the unseen hand of God is at work. You may not have the full picture yet, but the pieces are being revealed one by one, exactly when you need them. Now listen carefully. Heaven is not only speaking to you, it's also watching your response. Each time you acknowledge a sign, each time you respond with faith instead of fear, you show heaven that you are ready for the next level of revelation. Awareness opens the door to access. Gratitude attracts guidance. And if your spirit feels this truth burning within, seal it with a prophetic act. Comment 999 below. That number symbolizes divine completion and the closing of one chapter before the opening of another. When you type it, you're not just commenting, you're declaring to heaven, "I am ready for what's next. I recognize the signs. I will not miss my moment." This act is not superstition, it's spiritual symbolism. Every number, every word, carries vibration and intent. You are aligning your faith with the frequency of fulfillment. Let your comment be the echo that answers heaven's call. You've seen the signs. You've heard the whispers. Now, by faith, you respond, "Chosen one." The confirmations are not random, they are reminders. Heaven is speaking louder than you think. Trust what you're seeing. Trust what you're sensing. And keep your eyes open, for the next sign may appear sooner than you expect. Chosen one. The next sign that heaven is about to release something great into your life is the sudden pull toward obedience. You begin to feel it deep within, the urge to act, to surrender, to let go of something familiar even before you fully understand why. It's not fear. It's not impulse. It's divine prompting. The Spirit of God begins to whisper gentle yet unmistakable instructions, nudging you toward decisions that will shape your destiny. You may wake up one morning with a strong conviction to delete a contact, to move away from a certain environment, to give something away, or to take a leap of faith that seems unreasonable. These impulses are not random, they are heaven's way of adjusting your steps. Obedience always precedes overflow. Before the miracle, there is movement. Before the blessing, there is belief in action. God will often test your obedience with something small before He entrusts you with something great. It's never about the act itself, it's about what the act reveals. Your response shows whether you trust His voice more than your comfort. The pull toward obedience is proof that you are being trusted with something new. Remember how Abraham was asked to leave his homeland without knowing where he was going. It was obedience that turned his name into a covenant. When Elijah told the widow to use her last handful of flour to bake him bread, her obedience birthed supernatural provision. When Peter cast his net one more time at Jesus' word, he caught more fish than his boat could carry. Every divine increase begins with human obedience. This is the season when heaven tests your ear more than your effort. You will not have full explanations, only quiet instructions. The call to obedience rarely comes with details, it comes with faith. God will never ask for something you cannot surrender. He will only ask for what you love enough to prove your trust. It may feel risky to obey when you don't have clarity. The world teaches you to wait for certainty. But heaven moves by conviction. The Spirit whispers before sight confirms. Your act of obedience becomes the bridge between what you believe and what you will behold. You might feel a tension rising inside you, a push to step out of something secure. Maybe you feel the urge to forgive someone who hurt you deeply. Maybe you sense God calling you to walk away from an opportunity that doesn't align with your spirit. Maybe you feel drawn to start something new, even though fear tries to hold you back. That tension is not confusion, it's calling. When heaven is ready to lift you higher, obedience becomes the test that unlocks the door. It may not make sense to those around you, but divine instructions are rarely logical, they are spiritual. The same God who told Noah to build an ark before rain had ever fallen is the same God whispering to you now. You do not need to understand the rain to obey the command. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, chapter 10, verse 5, we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. That verse isn't just about discipline, it's about direction. Obedience begins in the mind. Before you move your feet, you must surrender your thoughts. When you bring every thought into alignment with Christ, clarity begins to form. What once felt uncertain becomes illuminated by peace. The mind obeys before the miracle manifests. Chosen one. There is power in swift obedience. Delay can dilute destiny. When you hesitate, fear grows louder. But when you move, faith gains momentum. Every time you obey without fully knowing, heaven records it as trust, and trust is the currency of the kingdom. It's easy to say, God, I'll obey when I understand. But true obedience says, I'll obey even when I don't. That is the moment heaven takes notice. That is when doors open that logic could never unlock. There will come a moment when you look back and realize that every step of obedience, every yes, every release, every surrender was leading you perfectly to where you are meant to be. You'll understand why He asked you to walk away, why He required silence, why He pulled you into solitude. You'll see that His commands were not restrictions, they were directions. Do not despise the small acts of obedience. They are divine investments with eternal returns. The quiet yes you whisper in private echoes through eternity. God is not just testing your willingness, He's training your readiness. The blessing you've been waiting for is not delayed, it's waiting for your obedience to match your calling. Soon, you'll step into something you didn't have to chase, because obedience will have already positioned you for it. The pull you feel now is heaven's invitation to partnership. Don't resist it. Follow it. For obedience is not the end of freedom, it is the door to it. Chosen one. Once you begin to walk in obedience, something extraordinary happens. Your discernment starts to sharpen. You begin to see differently, hear differently, and sense the spiritual atmosphere with greater precision. What once confused you now feels transparent. The veil begins to lift. You no longer look at life through the eyes of fear, but through the lens of revelation. This is not imagination. This is spiritual maturity awakening within you. Discernment is heaven's gift to those who have proven trustworthy with obedience. It is not just the ability to tell right from wrong, but to recognize what is right from what merely looks right. The difference between almost and anointed, between opportunity and distraction, becomes clearer. God gives you eyes that see beyond appearance and ears that recognize the true tone of intention. You may notice that your tolerance for certain conversations, environments, or entertainment begins to fade. You feel uneasy around people whose energy no longer aligns with your purpose. Words that once sounded harmless now carry heaviness. What you are sensing is not judgment, it is discernment. Heaven is fine-tuning your inner compass so you can navigate the next level of your calling without corruption. When discernment increases, the unseen becomes more visible. You start to recognize spiritual warfare before it manifests. You feel when someone's smile hides deceit, or when someone's silence hides intercession. You begin to notice patterns in your surroundings, cycles that repeat, energies that shift when you enter a room. This sensitivity is not a burden, it is armor. You are learning to see through darkness without letting darkness touch you. However, discernment also comes with responsibility. God does not give sight for gossip, He gives it for guardianship. What you see is meant to guide, not to condemn. The more you see, the gentler you must become. The more aware you are of spiritual realities, the more grace you must walk in. The Spirit is entrusting you with insight, not superiority. Discernment protects destiny. Many have fallen not because they lacked talent, but because they lacked discernment. Samson's strength couldn't save him from deception. Saul's crown couldn't protect him from pride. Even Eve, standing in paradise, was deceived because her discernment dulled in the presence of persuasion. That is why God sharpens yours, so that you will not fall into traps disguised as blessings. Chosen one. Sometimes your spirit will feel the truth before your mind understands it. You'll meet someone and feel a sudden heaviness. Or you'll walk into a room and sense peace leave. Trust that feeling. It is the Holy Spirit alerting you. You don't need to argue with your discernment. You only need to obey it. Heaven's warnings rarely shout, they whisper. And the wise learn to listen before disaster demands attention. As you grow in discernment, you'll begin to understand timing more deeply too. You'll know when to speak and when to stay silent, when to move and when to wait. The rhythm of heaven will start to shape your decisions. You'll realize that not every good opportunity is a God opportunity. Some doors open easily, just to test whether you'll walk through the wrong one. Discernment will show you which doors are destined and which are distractions. According to what is written in the book of Hebrews, chapter 5, verse 14, "But solid food belongs to the mature, who by constant use have trained themselves to distinguish good from evil." This scripture reveals that discernment is developed through practice. The more you walk with God, the clearer your inner senses become. Every time you choose prayer over panic, patience over pride, and faith over fear, your spiritual perception strengthens. You begin to move through life not by reaction, but by revelation, and as your discernment grows, loneliness might return, not because you are unloved, but because you now recognize what is genuine. Shallow connections fall away because your spirit refuses to feed on surface energy. Don't mourn the loss, celebrate the clarity. You are being separated from noise to preserve your purity. Discernment is a light in dark places. It protects you from spiritual predators, manipulative voices, and emotional traps. It keeps your heart pure while you walk through impure environments. It gives you peace when circumstances scream confusion. With it, you can sit in the midst of chaos and still sense heaven's direction. And yes, discernment can be heavy at times. Seeing truth others ignore can make you feel misunderstood. But never forget, vision is both gift and guardrail. You are not meant to carry the world's weight, only to recognize where to walk within it. God did not open your eyes to burden you. He opened them to bless you with clarity that saves you from unnecessary pain. Soon you will look back and realize how many traps you avoided simply because your spirit was alert. You'll see how many delays, heartbreaks, and wrong alliances you escaped because you chose sensitivity over stubbornness. This is the quiet miracle of discernment. It protects you from what never even reached you. Chosen one, cherish this gift. Nurture it through prayer, humility, and stillness. Keep your spirit uncluttered so you can continue to hear clearly. Discernment is heaven's secret weapon placed inside the faithful. It will lead you safely through the shadows until you stand fully in the light of your next calling. Chosen one, after discernment has been sharpened, the next sign arrives gently but powerfully. Doors begin to open with a grace that feels almost effortless. What you once chased now begins to find you. What you prayed for in tears begins to approach you with ease. This is not luck, it is alignment. The heavens have synchronized your steps with divine timing. You have passed the tests of silence, obedience, and discernment. Now favor begins to follow you like a shadow that never fades. There was a time when you had to knock, wait, and beg for opportunities. You wrote messages that were ignored, pursued dreams that didn't move, fought for positions that slipped away. But now, something has shifted. Suddenly, people remember your name. Invitations appear without effort. Resources start finding you. That is the mark of divine favor, when what you once labored for now flows to you because you are in season. When doors begin to open effortlessly, it's not because you've become more powerful, it's because heaven has declared, now. Timing is everything. God has been preparing not only the blessing for you, but you for the blessing. If he had opened the door too soon, you would have walked through unprepared. But now, your spirit and your assignment are in sync. What felt delayed is now arriving on schedule. Think of Joseph again, years in prison, forgotten, betrayed. But when the appointed time came, Pharaoh sent for him suddenly. The same day Joseph was summoned, he went from prisoner to prime minister. That is how fast divine timing moves. God doesn't need a process when purpose is ready. He only needs a moment. Chosen one. You are entering a season where one yes will make up for years of waiting. A single encounter will shift everything. You won't have to force it or manipulate outcomes. Favor will simply flow. But remember, this divine doors require divine character to keep them open. The humility that kept you faithful in the hidden place must follow you into the public place. Sometimes, the new doors won't look glamorous. They might appear as small beginnings, unexpected assignments, or connections that seem ordinary at first glance. But within those small doors hide significant breakthroughs. Heaven rarely wraps blessings in glory. They often come disguised as opportunities that test your perception. Stay sensitive. The door of destiny might look simple, but it opens into abundance. The Word of God declares in the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 8, "See, I have placed before you an open door no one can shut." That verse is a promise written into your destiny. When heaven opens a door, no opposition, no envy, no betrayal can close it. You don't need to compete, you need to continue. The same hand that opened it will sustain it. This is the beauty of favor. It doesn't require striving, it requires surrender. But understand, this new doors also bring new demands. The open door is not just for your comfort, it's for your calling. Every blessing carries responsibility. As God elevates you, your life becomes a living letter read by others. How you handle access will determine how long you keep authority. Walk through your open doors with reverence. The atmosphere you enter is sacred ground. You may notice how quickly things begin to align. Conversations lead to opportunities. Opportunities lead to visibility. And visibility leads to influence. Yet, stay humble, for pride can close what favor opened. Never forget how you got here through tears, prayers, patience, and grace. The same humility that bowed in waiting must bow in winning. And when the doors open, don't forget to honor the one who unlocked them. Many forget to thank God once abundance flows. But gratitude is the key that keeps doors from rusting shut. Keep worship at the center of your success. Let every achievement become an altar. Every victory, a song of remembrance. Now, chosen one, as you stand before these open doors, take a deep breath and prepare your heart. The path ahead will be filled with opportunities that require discernment and humility to navigate. Walk wisely, knowing that your steps are ordered by heaven itself. The favor on your life is not random, it's revelation turned into reality. If this word speaks to your soul, type, "I'm ready." These two words are more than a comment, they're a declaration. When you write them, you are not just typing letters, you are telling heaven, "I am prepared to walk through the doors you've opened. I will not fear the unknown. I will step forward in faith." This act aligns your spirit with divine momentum. It's your way of agreeing with what God has already written about your life. Heaven recognizes faith that speaks. Every "I'm ready" becomes a signal in the spirit, a reminder that one of God's chosen is standing in position. Chosen one. The doors are open. The waiting is over. You are stepping into a chapter where the effort becomes ease, and the impossible becomes inevitable. Walk boldly through what God has prepared. No one can shut what heaven has unlocked for you. Chosen one. When the doors open and opportunities start to unfold, something else begins to awaken within you, a strange, steady peace. It doesn't make sense to your mind, but it anchors your heart. The same storms that used to shake you now only move around you, never within you. You've entered a new spiritual frequency, one where the chaos of life no longer rules your emotions. This is not denial, it is dominion. You are learning what it means to rest in God. This peace doesn't come from the absence of battle, but from the presence of belief. The winds may blow, but you no longer bend in fear. You've discovered the secret the world keeps missing. Peace is not a place, it's a person. You have met him in your waiting, and now he walks with you into your winning. There was a time when every problem stole your sleep, every delay made you doubt, and every silence made you worry. But now, your soul has matured. You've realized that if God brought you through storms before, he will not abandon you in this one. Peace is no longer an emotion you chase, it's a crown you wear. You've stopped fighting to understand and started trusting to endure. Think of a lighthouse standing tall against roaring waves. No matter how violently the sea crashes, the light never stops shining. That is you, chosen one. You have become unshakable, not because life got easier, but because you have learned who your foundation is. The wind that once terrified you now only proves how deeply you're rooted. You see, divine peace is not passive, it's powerful. It guards your mind like an invisible fortress. It tells anxiety, you may knock, but you cannot enter. It whispers truth louder than fear ever could. Peace is your proof that heaven is near. Scripture says in the Gospel of John, chapter 14, verse 27, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you, not as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled or afraid." This is the promise that keeps your heart calm in the middle of change. The peace of Christ is not borrowed, it is built into your spirit. It cannot be stolen by circumstance, because it was never created by circumstance. The world offers peace through control, but heaven offers peace through surrender. Chosen one. When you carry this kind of peace, people notice. They will ask, "How are you so calm?" They'll look at your storms and see serenity where panic should be. That's when you become a living sermon. Your calm becomes your testimony. Your stillness becomes your ministry. You won't need to preach. Your peace will speak. But peace, like a garden, must be tended. Guard it. Feed it with gratitude. Water it with prayer. Protect it from the weeds of worry that try to grow back. Every morning, choose peace again. Speak it over your mind, your home, your work, and your future. Declare that chaos will not sit where Christ reigns. If this message has reached a tender part of your heart, then hear this next part, from my soul to yours, when you like, share, or subscribe. You're not just supporting content, you're spreading calm. Every share is a ripple that carries peace into someone else's storm. Somewhere out there, another chosen one is on the edge of giving up, and your simple act of sharing might be the light that steadies them again. And if your heart feels stirred to donate, do it not out of obligation, but as a gesture of gratitude. Think of it as pouring oil into the lamp that keeps this light burning. Every contribution, no matter the size, is like a drop of anointing oil that fuels more messages, more hope, more life. You become part of the unseen hands that keep the flame alive. Donations are not transactions, they're transformations. Each offering is a seed that multiplies peace across hearts you'll never meet. You become the unseen messenger behind every word, every sound, every spark that reaches a weary soul. It's like standing beside me at the shore, holding a lantern as we send light into the dark sea of the world. Your generosity keeps the current flowing. It ensures that these words continue to reach those still walking through storms without sight of the shore. When you give, you're not losing, you're investing in eternity's echo. Chosen one, you are living proof that peace can stand in the middle of chaos. You have become a sanctuary in a world that keeps breaking itself apart. Keep carrying that stillness wherever you go. Let your peace spill over into others until the world around you begins to quiet down too. You have been through the tempest. You have walked through fire. And now, you stand radiant, untouched, and unafraid. This peace, this holy, immovable calm is the evidence that heaven is within you. Chosen one, when peace begins to dwell within you, heaven starts to send divine connections into your life, people who speak your language of purpose without translation, souls who recognize your calling before you even explain it. This is not coincidence. When your heart aligns with heaven, the right people begin to appear like stars breaking through the night sky. They don't compete with your light, they complement it. Divine relationships are the evidence that your next assignment is near. These are not casual friendships or convenient alliances. They are kingdom connections. They arrive with clarity, carrying encouragement, wisdom, and alignment. They do not drain your energy, they multiply it. You feel peace, not pressure. You sense purpose, not performance. And deep within, you know you were never meant to do this alone. God often hides his blessings inside people. When he wants to elevate you, he sends a person, not a platform. The right voices will awaken the parts of you that have been sleeping. They will call you out of your fear, speak to your future, and remind you of promises you nearly forgot. They become mirrors that reflect your divine potential when you've forgotten your worth. But just as heaven sends divine helpers, hell also sends distractions. Counterfeit connections will show up before authentic ones. They'll look supportive, but carry subtle agendas. Their presence will feel exciting, but never peaceful. That is why discernment, the gift you've been cultivating, is crucial now. You must learn to recognize the difference between those sent to sharpen you and those sent to siphon you. When God sends divine relationships, they come with spiritual confirmation. You'll notice immediate alignment in spirit and mission. They'll speak your language, share your values, and push you closer to God, not further away. Conversations with them leave you lighter, not heavier. Even silence shared with them feels sacred. Remember David and Jonathan, their souls were knit together by divine purpose. Jonathan wasn't threatened by David's anointing, he protected it. That's how you'll know when someone is from God. They'll cover you, not compete with you. They will celebrate your elevation because they recognize that your victory strengthens the kingdom, not their ego. Sometimes, divine relationships won't look like equals in status or position. Some will be mentors who pour into you, others will be students you're called to guide. But in both directions, the exchange is holy. The kingdom thrives on connection. The vine and its branches live because life flows both ways. We find in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 4, verse 9, 2 are better than 1, because they have a good return for their labor. This verse reveals heaven's design for partnership. You were never meant to carry destiny alone. Every great movement of God has always been built on divine connections. Moses and Aaron, Elijah and Elisha, Mary and Elizabeth, Paul and Timothy. Each pairing multiplied impact and sustained purpose. The power of unity is the strategy of heaven. When these people appear in your life, honor them. Don't idolize them, but recognize the divine flow that moves through them. Gratitude unlocks longevity in spiritual relationships. Acknowledge those who see you clearly, who remind you of God's faithfulness when your vision blurs. They are not just friends, they are pillars. Also, be prepared to release those who cannot walk with you into the new season. Some were vital for your growth, but are not equipped for your greatness. Letting go doesn't mean dishonor. It means recognition that their purpose in your story has been fulfilled. Holding on to expired connections can delay your next assignment. Trust that God replaces every departure with a divine arrival. Chosen one. Divine relationships also carry refinement. Iron sharpens iron, but sparks will fly. The people sent by God will not only comfort you, they will challenge you. They'll call out complacency, question your motives, and hold you accountable to your calling. At first, it might sting, but later you'll realize those moments were acts of love disguised as correction. When heaven joins two paths, it's never for convenience, but for kingdom advancement. Together, you become stronger, wiser, and more effective. You begin to understand the power of spiritual family, people who see beyond your current circumstance into your eternal purpose. They become your intercessors, your encouragers, your protectors in the unseen battle. And though some divine relationships may last a lifetime, while others are seasonal, each one leaves you marked. They imprint wisdom, humility, and courage into your soul. They are living proof that God never intended for you to fulfill destiny in isolation. As you walk forward, remain open. Don't let past betrayals make you suspicious of present blessings. Not everyone who enters your life is a lesson. Some are lifelong allies in your divine mission. Ask God to reveal who is meant to walk beside you, who is meant to walk behind you, and who is meant to walk away from you. Then trust His wisdom in placing each one correctly. Chosen one. Your tribe is forming. Heaven is arranging divine intersections where paths of purpose collide. You will recognize them by peace, by truth, and by fruit. The alignment you feel when they enter your life will be undeniable. For the same Spirit that leads you will also live within them. These connections are heaven's fingerprints guiding you toward the greater assignment ahead. Chosen one. Just before the moment of elevation, before the promise becomes visible, before the doors fully open, God allows one final refining fire to pass through your life. It's not punishment, it's purification. The test of humility always arrives right before the crown. And it is through this test that God ensures your heart can carry what your hands are about to hold. You've felt it recently, haven't you? The sting of being overlooked, the pain of being misunderstood, the ache of serving in silence. You do right, yet remain unseen. You give, yet receive little recognition. These are not random hardships, they are divine filters. Heaven is separating the proud from the pure. You are being refined in secret so you can be trusted in the spotlight. There will always be a test before the throne. Before Joseph ruled Egypt, he endured betrayal and prison. Before David wore the crown, he faced rejection in the wilderness. Before Jesus performed miracles, he humbled himself in obedience to the will of the Father. Humility is the bridge that connects calling to completion. Those who resist it delay destiny. Those who embrace it walk swiftly into glory. Humility is not weakness, it is wisdom. It's the quiet awareness that everything you are is because of grace. It allows you to shine without pride and serve without bitterness. It keeps you soft in a hard world. The truly humble do not think less of themselves, they simply think of themselves less. They understand that every gift, every victory, every open door is borrowed breath from heaven. Chosen one. You may find yourself serving those who misunderstand you or helping people who forget to thank you. You might be tempted to walk away, to say, "What's the point?" But that's when you must remember God sees what man overlooks. Every act of unseen service is recorded in heaven. Every hidden sacrifice becomes a seed of honor. The test of humility often feels unfair because it exposes your motives. Would you still obey if no one clapped? Would you still love if no one noticed? Would you still serve if there was no stage? When you answer yes, heaven knows it can trust you with more. God exalts the humble not because they are loud, but because they are loyal when no one's watching. You may feel stripped in this season. People who once celebrated you may now distance themselves. The applause you once heard has gone silent. But listen closely, this quiet is not absence, it's refinement. God is purifying your intentions. He's removing ego, insecurity, and hidden pride. You are being positioned for a greater responsibility. And humility is the armor you must wear for that journey. As was written in the first letter of Peter, chapter 5, verse 6, "Humble yourselves, therefore, under God's mighty hand, that he may lift you up in due time." This verse is not a command of limitation, it's an invitation to acceleration. The lower you bow, the higher he can lift you. The soil of humility is where the roots of greatness grow. You are being called to kneel, not because you are weak, but because you are strong enough to surrender. When you choose humility, you disarm the enemy. Pride gives him access. Humility shuts the door. The devil cannot defeat a humble heart because there's no pride for him to exploit. The truly humble stand taller in silence than the arrogant do on stages. Heaven crowns those who bend low in love. Chosen one. Remember, crowns built on pride crumble under pressure, but crowns built on humility endure forever. Every time you swallow your pride, every time you choose peace over proving your point, you are winning battles the world can't see. You are gaining authority in the unseen realm. The final test before blessing is never about strength, it's about surrender. Can you stay kind when criticized? Can you stay faithful when forgotten? Can you stay grateful when delayed? These are the questions heaven asks before the crown rests on your head. So, when you face small humiliations, take heart. You are not being humiliated, you are being humbled. And there is a sacred difference. Humiliation wounds the ego, humility heals the soul. The pain you feel now is polishing you for the promise that's about to arrive. Chosen one. If your spirit recognizes that this message is for you, if you feel that quiet, knowing that heaven is preparing you, then seal this moment by commenting 888. This number is a symbol of new beginnings and divine restoration. When you write it, you are declaring, I choose humility over hurry. I trust the timing of God. I surrender to his shaping hand. This isn't superstition, It's a spiritual statement. It's your way of saying, even if I'm unseen now, I will stay faithful until the light finds me. Heaven reads faith in small acts, even in something as simple as the numbers you type. Chosen one. Your hidden season is holy. Every low place you walk through now will become the story that lifts others later. Keep your heart bowed, your spirit pure, and your eyes lifted. The hand of God that humbles you today will crown you tomorrow. Chosen one. After the humbling comes the quickening divine acceleration. The winds of delay suddenly shift, and what once moved slowly now begins to unfold with breathtaking speed. This is not coincidence. It is divine momentum. Heaven has measured your endurance, refined your heart, and now releases what has been held in reserve. You are entering the season where time bends in your favor. For so long, you labored without visible results. You planted seeds that seemed to vanish in the soil. You prayed, fasted, and obeyed, yet saw little fruit. But now, suddenly, the pace changes. Opportunities multiply. Doors swing open before you even knock. Conversations that once stalled now flow effortlessly. It feels as though heaven has pressed fast forward on your destiny. That is exactly what is happening. Acceleration is heaven's reward for faithfulness under pressure. When you refuse to give up in the delay, God redeems the time that felt wasted. He restores the years the locusts devoured. Every moment you thought was lost becomes compressed into a single surge of breakthrough. What should have taken a decade begins to manifest in a day. The same God who turned water into wine in an instant is turning waiting into wonder right now. Acceleration is not about rushing, it's about divine synchronization. When your preparation meets His perfect timing, everything aligns. You suddenly understand why the waiting was necessary, because premature promotion is dangerous. God waited until your character could carry your calling. Now that your heart is steady, your blessing can finally move. Chosen one. You may begin to feel as though everything around you is speeding up. Dreams manifest faster. People appear at the right time, and solutions arrive before problems grow. Don't be afraid of this pace. It's not chaos, it's confirmation. Heaven is aligning people, resources, and moments like notes in a song only God could compose. You are stepping into rhythm with divine timing. Think of an archer drawing back a bow. The further the arrow is pulled backward, the farther it flies when released. That's what your delay was. Every setback, every disappointment, every pause, it was the stretching before the release. The tension you felt was preparation for the distance you're about to travel. Now, as the pressure releases, you'll move farther, faster, and with more precision than ever before. But remember, acceleration is not only external, it's internal. Your spirit matures quickly. Revelation comes faster. You discern things that used to take years to understand. You begin to see how each piece of your life fits perfectly into God's larger picture. It's like a tapestry suddenly revealed after years of watching only one thread. The pattern was there all along. Now the whole image appears. The Apostle Paul wrote about this very principle in the book of Ephesians, chapter 3, verse 20. Now to Him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to His power that is at work within us. That is acceleration not by your strength, but by His power within you. It's not human effort that speeds up the process. It's divine energy moving through surrendered hearts. The same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead is breathing momentum into every area of your life that once felt stagnant. But be careful. Chosen one acceleration requires wisdom. The enemy cannot stop what God has released, so he will try to distract it. Opportunities will multiply, but not every open door will be your assignment. As things move quickly, stay anchored in prayer. Ask God to distinguish between momentum and manipulation. The right speed is only blessed when it remains guided by His Spirit. In this season, your pace will change, but your peace must remain constant. Don't let the speed of progress steal the sacred rhythm of rest. The purpose of acceleration is not exhaustion, it's expansion. God is not rushing you, He's redeeming time. There is a difference. You are being propelled, not pressured. And yes, some will look at you and wonder, how did they rise so fast? They won't understand that what looks sudden to them was actually years of preparation in secret. Heaven moves suddenly only after it has moved silently. You are not an overnight success. You are the result of unseen faithfulness meeting divine favor. Chosen one. This is the moment where your not yet turns into now. What you've prayed for in private will manifest in public. Every delay is about to make sense. Every weight from heaven is about to turn into walk. The current that carries you now is not one you control, it's one you cooperate with. Don't resist it. Flow with it. Trust that the same God who's accelerating your journey will also sustain your balance. You've waited long enough. The page is turning faster now, and the story is finally catching up to the promise. The divine clock has struck the hour of fulfillment. Step forward. Chosen one, you are moving at the speed of grace. Chosen one, as acceleration sweeps through your life, another miracle begins to unfold, the manifestation of promises long spoken over you, words once whispered in prayer, prophecies declared years ago, and visions that seem to fade in silence begin to materialize before your very eyes. What you once believed by faith, you now see by sight. The invisible becomes visible. The abstract becomes actual. Heaven's word becomes your reality. You may have carried promises so long that they felt more like memories than prophecies. You wondered if perhaps you misunderstood God, if maybe the dream was too big or the timing too strange. But here you are, standing on the threshold of what once seemed impossible. The things you prayed about through tears are beginning to breathe in front of you. This is the season when God proves that no word from His mouth returns void. Manifestation always comes gently at first. It doesn't arrive with loud announcements, but with subtle confirmations, a text, an opportunity, a door that opens quietly. Yet, in your spirit, you know this is it. The atmosphere around you feels pregnant with purpose. You sense the shift in the air. This is not imagination, it's fulfillment unfolding. Moment by moment. When promises start to manifest, they often carry a weight of wonder and humility. You look back on the path that brought you here and realize that every pain, every delay, every loss was necessary. The wilderness that once felt like punishment now looks like preparation. You begin to see that God's timing was never off. It was orchestrated down to the heartbeat. Chosen one. Manifestation is more than just receiving blessings, it's recognizing them. Many miss what God has done because they keep waiting for something grand, overlooking the quiet miracles already surrounding them, the healing that happened slowly, the reconciliation that took time, the opportunity that came disguised as work. These are all manifestations of promise. Heaven fulfills in layers, not lightning bolts. Sometimes the promise doesn't look exactly like what you expected. Joseph's dream showed a throne, but it came wrapped in a prison first. Abraham's promise showed a son, but it came wrapped in waiting. The disciples' promise showed a kingdom, but it came wrapped in a cross. Fulfillment rarely looks like fantasy. It looks like faith rewarded in unexpected form. That is why you must stay spiritually alert. Don't reject the promise because it arrives in unfamiliar packaging. The miracle you've been waiting for may walk into your life quietly, humbly, like rain instead of thunder. When it does, receive it with gratitude. Don't analyze it, honor it. The promise is not just about you. It's about the glory of the one who kept his word. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms. Chapter 145, verse 13. The Lord is faithful to all his promises and loving toward all he has made. That verse is the heartbeat of this season. God does not forget. Even when years pass and people fade, his word remains alive. It never expires, never weakens, never loses its voice. Time does not cancel divine intention, it only matures it. The promise you thought had died was only dormant. Heaven never loses track of what it speaks. When manifestation begins, it also brings understanding. You'll suddenly see why certain doors had to close, why certain people had to leave, why certain prayers went unanswered. You'll realize that what felt like loss was divine rerouting, that every detour was a disguised shortcut. The wisdom you gain will be deeper than the blessing itself. But remember, chosen one, manifestation is not the end, it's the continuation of purpose. Every fulfilled promise becomes the seed for a new one. The God who completes also creates. Don't stop seeking just because something finally arrived. Keep walking. Keep listening. Fulfillment is not a finish line, it's a platform for the next revelation. There will come a moment when you stand still, overwhelmed, unable to hold back tears of gratitude. You'll feel the presence of God so strongly that words will fail. You'll remember the nights of doubt, the prayers whispered through exhaustion, and realize it was all worth it. Every delay, every test, every tear was currency exchanged for this divine reality. Chosen one, take a breath and receive this truth: what God promised, he is performing. The waiting season is closing, and the harvest season is unfolding. The seed has broken through the soil. The dream is no longer distant, it is dwelling among you. Walk gently into this fulfillment. Handle it with reverence. The same faith that carried you here must sustain you as the promise unfolds. Keep your heart grateful, your words humble, and your gaze fixed on the giver more than the gift. You are now living proof that God's promises never fail. Heaven has kept its word. The story that once sounded too good to be true has become your reality. And when others see it, they will know it was never luck. It was the faithfulness of a God who remembers every word he speaks. Chosen one. When promises begin to manifest, something even greater descends upon you, the mantle of authority. It's not a crown made of gold, but a weight made of glory. You begin to feel it in your spirit. First, a holy boldness that wasn't there before, a strength in your words, a certainty in your steps. You are no longer the same person who once begged for permission to exist. Now, you carry the seal of heaven's approval. This authority doesn't make you arrogant, it makes you aware. You sense the presence of God walking with you. The same Spirit that sustained prophets and apostles now rests upon your shoulders. Heaven begins to entrust you with influence. Not for control, but for contribution. You've been given a mantle to protect, guide, and awaken others. You are no longer just a believer, you are a bearer of divine fire. Think of Elijah. Standing on Mount Carmel, the world mocked his faith until fire fell. That fire wasn't random, it was the proof of authority born through obedience. When the mantle fell upon Elisha later, it carried the residue of Elijah's trials, tears, and triumphs. That's how mantles work. They don't fall from comfort, they fall from crucifixion. Every season you've endured was shaping the shoulders that would carry it. You might notice that your words begin to carry weight. When you speak, people listen differently. When you pray, things shift quicker. This isn't coincidence, it's confirmation. The mantle gives your voice authority in the unseen realm. What once resisted you now responds to you because heaven recognizes your sound. You are walking in anointing that was earned through endurance. But authority is not about domination, it's about demonstration. True authority doesn't shout, it shines. It's the quiet power that turns chaos into calm. The grace that silences storms without raising a voice. You've been entrusted with influence not to elevate yourself, but to elevate others. Authority is stewardship of God's strength, not a stage for ego. Remember what Jesus said when his disciples marveled at miracles. He reminded them not to rejoice that spirits obeyed, but that their names were written in heaven. That's humility in power. That's how mantles are carried safely. You must never forget that the authority you hold comes from the presence you host. Lose the presence, and the power fades. The Word of God declares in the book of Luke, chapter 10, verse 19, I have given you authority to trample snakes and scorpions, to overcome all the enemy's power. Nothing will harm you. This is your inheritance. You carry the badge of the kingdom. You have been equipped to confront darkness without fear. The same God who gave Moses a staff has given you a voice, a calling, a gift. Use it with reverence. The authority on your life was paid for by obedience and refined by humility. Chosen one. This is the moment to move with courage. Your mantle is not meant to be admired, it's meant to be activated. Speak life where death lingers. Bring peace where confusion reigns. Stand firm where compromise tempts. Every word you release in faith becomes a sword in the unseen. Every prayer you whisper in secret moves mountains in silence. And if this message stirs something within you, if you feel the weight of what I'm describing, then let's keep this flame alive together. When you like, share, or subscribe, you're not just engaging with content, you're fueling a mission. You're keeping the oil burning in a generation that's growing cold. Every action becomes a spark, and each spark has the power to ignite another heart. If you feel led to donate, let it be from a place of gratitude, not pressure. Think of it as pouring water onto a field that will bloom far beyond what your eyes can see. Every contribution, no matter how small, helps these words reach souls standing on the edge of giving up. You become part of a ripple effect of hope. Your generosity is not lost, it's planted, and heaven keeps perfect record of every seed sown into light. And please, take a moment to comment below, not just as an audience, but as a testimony. Write what this message awakens in you. Maybe it's strength, peace, or a renewed fire to walk in purpose. Your words will strengthen someone else's faith. Sometimes, one honest comment can become another person's answered prayer. Chosen one, wear your mantle with grace. Walk with quiet confidence, knowing that the same power that raised Christ from the dead now moves within you. You don't need to announce it, the evidence will reveal itself. You've become a carrier of divine authority, a living torch in a darkened world. Wherever you go, the atmosphere will shift. Wherever you speak, heaven will echo. Chosen one, when authority settles upon your life, it begins to manifest as overflow. The shift is subtle. At first, you start to notice that blessings come more naturally, that what used to be difficult now unfolds with ease. It's not that the world has changed, it's that your position has. You are no longer striving to survive. You are flowing from abundance. This is the sign that heaven's favor has matured within you. Overflow is not about excess, it is about evidence. It's the outward manifestation of inward alignment. When your heart is right, your words are right, and your actions are guided by grace. The result is divine multiplication. What you touch begins to flourish. What you speak begins to come alive. The same presence that once sustained you in scarcity now releases you into sufficiency. Chosen one, you've entered the realm where your cup doesn't just fill, it runs over. Yet this overflow is not given for indulgence, it is entrusted for influence. You have been blessed so that you might become a blessing. Heaven does not pour into stagnant vessels, it pours through surrendered ones. The measure of overflow is not how much you receive, but how freely you release. This is the stage where your life becomes a conduit. You'll find yourself helping others without effort, speaking wisdom that surprises even you, or giving resources you once felt afraid to share. The river of heaven flows through your obedience, not your ownership. The more you give, the more you receive, not because you're earning it, but because you're reflecting the very nature of God, who never stops pouring. Overflow touches every area of life. Peace overflows into chaos and brings calm. Joy overflows into despair and restores hope. Love overflows into broken hearts and mends them. Even material provision follows this pattern, not as a reward, but as a reflection. When you prioritize the kingdom provides for you. You are living proof of Matthew's promise that when you seek first his righteousness, all other things will be added. Yet even in abundance, humility must remain. Overflow is both a blessing and a test. Can you handle more without forgetting the source? Can you remain grounded when you begin to rise? True abundance is not measured by what's in your hands, but by how lightly you hold it. What you grasp too tightly becomes a god. What you release freely becomes glory. Heaven watches how you handle surplus. When you share without calculation, when you bless without fear, you prove that your heart belongs to the giver, not the gift. The generous soul never runs dry, for they understand that the same hand that gives is the same hand that refills. The Word of God proclaims in the book of Malachi, chapter 3, verse 10, "Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, test me in this, and see if I do not open heaven's floodgates and pour out blessing." That verse is not just about giving, it's about trust. The floodgates of heaven are not opened by wealth, but by willingness. When you choose generosity over fear, heaven responds with multiplication. Your life becomes proof that obedience and overflow are inseparable. Chosen one. This abundance is more than physical provision, it is emotional and spiritual wholeness. You no longer operate from emptiness. You have peace even when storms roar, joy even when results delay, and love even when others fail you. That is the greatest overflow of all, the ability to give from a heart that never runs out. You'll begin to notice divine patterns repeating themselves. What you once prayed to receive, you now become for others. You prayed for encouragement, now you speak it. You prayed for breakthrough, now you release it. You prayed for love, now you embody it. That is overflow, the transformation from receiver to releaser. But remember this sacred truth, the flow never stops. But it can be hindered. The only dam that blocks divine overflow is ingratitude. When you cease to thank, you cease to flow. Gratitude keeps the river clear, while entitlement clogs it. So keep your heart soft, your hands open, and your mouth filled with praise. There will come a moment when you look at your life and realize that you are surrounded by miracles you didn't have to manufacture. Peace will guard your nights. Provision will find your path. The same energy you once spent surviving will now be used to create, to love, to lead. That's the rhythm of overflow. It doesn't rush, it radiates. Chosen one. The overflow is not coming, it's here. You are walking in the fulfillment of promises once spoken in whispers. Heaven has found you faithful. And now the floodgates are open. Walk gently in this abundance. Share freely. And remember, this is only a glimpse of what's still to come. Chosen one. The final sign that God is about to give you something great is when you finally step fully into destiny. Not the idea of it, not the longing for it, but the living reality of it. You wake up one morning and realize you are walking inside the very prayers that once brought you to tears. The dream that felt distant has become daily life. What was once a promise has turned into a presence. This moment doesn't arrive with fanfare. It arrives with quiet recognition, a deep, peaceful awareness that everything you've endured has been worth it. You no longer chase after purpose, you walk in it. The confusion that once clouded your mind has lifted, and the path ahead glows with clarity. You've been forged by fire, stretched by faith, and refined by waiting. Now, you carry the fragrance of fulfillment. Destiny isn't always loud. It often unfolds in ordinary moments, a conversation, a step of courage, a simple act of kindness. You begin to see how every piece of your past connects to this purpose. Every wound became wisdom. Every delay became direction. And every failure became fertilizer for growth. The pain you once resented now looks like divine design. Stepping into destiny feels like remembering something your soul always knew. It's as though your spirit exhales and whispers, "This is what I was made for." You stop striving to prove your worth and start living from it. Your identity no longer depends on recognition or results. It rests securely in relationship with the one who sent you. Destiny doesn't mean life becomes perfect. It means you've learned how to remain peaceful even when it isn't. It means your spirit has matured enough to stand steady while the world shifts around you. You move differently now, not from desperation, but from divine direction. The same storms that once overwhelmed you now obey the authority you carry. Chosen one. Destiny is not a destination, it's a continual unfolding of obedience. You walk step by step, revelation by revelation. Each day brings new instructions, new assignments, and new grace. You no longer fear change because you've learned that every new chapter is authored by the same faithful hand. You'll know you've entered destiny when what used to drain you now delights you. When peace replaces pressure. When giving feels as natural as breathing. When you stop fighting for a seat at tables God never called you to, and instead build new tables for others to gather. You've shifted from striving to serving, from surviving to shining. According to the writings of Paul in the book of Philippians, chapter 1, verse 6, being confident of this, that he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. That verse is your closing promise. The one who started this journey with you has never once abandoned the process. He has carried you through every high and low, every dark night and dawn of hope, shaping you into the vessel you were destined to be. The completion of one purpose is the beginning of another. The end of waiting is the beginning of walking. You are no longer the same soul that began this path. The doubts have quieted, the fears have softened, and the light within you has grown steadier. You've become a living message, a testimony of endurance, faith, and divine faithfulness. People will look at you and see not perfection, but perseverance crowned by grace. Stepping into destiny doesn't mean you know every step ahead. It means you trust the one who directs them. You move forward with peace because you've seen his consistency. You've learned that his delays are strategic. His silence is instructive, and his timing is flawless. The same God who guided you through shadows now walks beside you in sunlight. Chosen one, breathe deeply. This is your arrival. The training is complete. The tests have been passed, and the promise has become reality. You've reached the season where everything begins to make sense. Your story, once written in fragments, now reads as a full testimony of transformation. Stand tall. You are not just surviving anymore, you are reigning. You have become what heaven envisioned when it first called your name. Every moment from here forward carries purpose. Every step echoes eternity. This is the fulfillment of all the whispers, all the waiting, all the wonders yet to come. You are home in your calling. You are walking in your destiny. And heaven smiles, for you have become the living proof that God finishes what he starts. Chosen one, if your heart is still beating a little faster, if your spirit feels both lighter and stronger, that's not emotion, that's confirmation. You've just walked through a journey of revelation. 17 signs, 17 mirrors showing you who you are and what heaven is unfolding in you. You didn't stumble upon these words, you were summoned. Heaven knew exactly when you would need to hear them. Now, pause and look at yourself, not the weary version, not the worried one, but the warrior that has emerged. You have seen how God stirs, separates, tests, and transforms. You've seen that waiting is never wasted, that obedience births overflow, that every battle was a rehearsal for authority. You are no longer on the edge of destiny, you are standing in it. If these words have spoken to your soul, don't let them stay here. Let them travel. Like this message, if it stirred something alive within you, when you share it, you become a messenger yourself, passing a spark of faith to someone still lost in their storm. And take a moment to comment below. Share what revelation or moment in this journey pierced your heart most deeply. Your words might become another's confirmation. If you haven't yet, subscribe and stay connected. This space is more than content, it's a community of chosen ones, walking boldly in purpose. Every time you return, you add light to the collective flame. Carry this message wherever you go. Let your life preach louder than any sermon. Heaven is not done with you. It's only beginning to reveal what's next. You are chosen. You are called. You are covered. And the world needs the sound of your obedience now more than ever.